Good day, everyone, and welcome again to my channel. I'm glad to have you here today. I hope you will learn a lot from our discussion on visual communication and advertising. This topic is very important because visuals are not just decorations in ads, they are the very language that help us understand, remember, and believe in a message. Before we begin, please don't forget to like, share, or leave a comment on this video if you find it helpful. Your support means a lot and it will help others to discover these lessons too. Now, let's get started. Let me share with you my screen. Right, perfect. So, again, our topic is about visual communication in advertising. Now, what is visual communication? But before we dig deeper on the meaning of visual communication, let's take a look at on the learning outcomes. So the learning outcomes are the following. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to interpret images and symbols in visual ads. You will also apply designs, principles, and layouts, and critically evaluate visual storytelling. So, what is visual communication? Now, advertising today is not only about words or catchy slogans. It is heavily dependent on how visual communicates meaning, images, colors, and layouts are crafted to attract attention, create associations, and build emotional connections. Visual communication is the sharing of ideas through images, symbols, and design rather than words alone. Now, our brain are actually wired for this. Nearly 80% of brain activity is devoted to processing visuals. This means that the pictures are absorbed more than quickly and remembered longer than text. In advertising, this is why logos, posters, and short video clips can deliver impact in seconds faster than long product description. And what are the types of visual communications? Now, these are the three main types. The first thing is sign language. Sign language is a formal system of communication that uses hand gestures, movement, and facial expression to convey meaning. In the context of advertising, this shows that communication isn't always verbal. Symbols and gestures can carry messages powerfully without words. These highlight that visuals can substitute text. Just as sign language turns words into symbols, ads often use icons and emojis or simplified images to communicate to diverse audiences, even those who don't share the same spoken language. Second is body language. Body language is the unspoken communication through posture, gestures, or facial expressions. In advertising, models or actors often use body language to express emotions like excitement, confidence, or even sadness. For example, an athlete in a Nike ad raising their arms in victory communicates triumph and motivation without single word. Body language complements sign language by showing that human expression itself is a visual tool. Together, reinforce how visuals in ad tap into instinctive human understanding. The viewers instantly read emotions and attitude from body posture. Third is banners and placards. Banners and placards are physically displays or visual communication. They simplify complex messages into bold, concise visuals, often using large fonts, striking colors, and images that demand attention. Think of billboards, posters, or promotional tarpaulins. In advertising, banners are one of the most direct ways of broadcasting a message to the public. These type ties back to the first two. While sign language and body language rely on people as carriers of the meaning, banners and placards shows how objects and spaces can be transformed into communication tools. Now, all of the three types of all of these three types that demonstrate that visuals can live into gestures, expressions, or design media. Another one here is art and graphics. Art and graphic represent deliberate visual creations, paintings, illustration, posters, and digital designs. In advertising, they form the backbone of print ads, digital banners, and social media creatives. Their strength lies in style, symbolism, and emotional impact. Now, for instance, minimalist graphics convey sophistication while bold, colorful art can suggest energy and youth. Compared to sign and body language as a human based communication, art and graphics are design objects. They highlight how advertisers use visual designs to transform abstract ideas like happiness and luxury into concrete visual forms. Another one is acting and theatrics. Acting and theatric use human performance to convey stories, emotions, and messages. In advertising, commercial often rely on actors, expressions, tone, and gestures to dramatize everybody problems and their solutions. Now, for example, detergent ad dramatize the struggle with stains to emphasize the product's power. This continues the shift from the static visual or graphics to live performance, where graphic frees meaning into a single frame, acting adds movement, sequence, and emotion to deepen storytelling. Another one is puppetry. Puppetry is one of the oldest forms of visual storytelling. Puppets create relatable characters while keeping costs low and creativity high. In advertising, puppets are mascots like Jollibee, Ronald McDonald, or animated spokes characters embody brand identity in a playful and approachable way. Puppetry is a bridge between live acting and animation. It uses crafted figures rather than humans, but still conveys emotions and narrative through movement. It emphasizes how symbols and character extend beyond real people. And this, second to the last, is videos. Video is one of the most powerful tool of modern advertising. It combines visual sounds, emotions, and narrative into a single medium. Through video ads on TV, YouTube, or TikTok, brand reach audiences with strong emotional impact. Videos are also flexible. They can inform, entertain, or persuade within seconds. Videos bring together earlier forms, the acting, the graphics, the puppetry into a multimedia package. This makes them the most widely used and versatile from visual communication in today's advertising industry. Animation, the last one. Animation uses moving drawings or digital models to tell stories, you know, and it gives advertisers full creative control. Characters can fly, objects can talk, the scenes can break the laws of physics. This makes animation particularly appealing to younger audiences and ideal for imaginative, memorable branding. Pixar's like the animations or 2D explainer ads are prime examples. Animation extends the tradition of puppetry and graphics into the digital age, showing how visual communication evolves with technology. They highlight creativity without the constraints of real world filming, expanding storytelling possibilities. Together, this shows the full spectrum of visual communication from basic human gestures to advanced multimedia productions, all of which are essential in advertising. Another thing that we're going to discuss is the types of visual messages. We have three types: the mental, mediated, and direct. Now, that's what have seen different forms of visual communication, like the body language, the banners, arts, and videos. Now, it is also important to understand that all of these can actually be grouped into three main categories of visual messages. These categories explain how visual reach us, how we process them, and how advertisers take the advantage of them to shape meaning. So these three types of visual messages, each one plays a special role in how people understand and respond to ads. Let's talk about mental. Mental messages are images created inside our own minds. Our thoughts, our memories, dreams, and fantasies. Ads often stimulate mental messages. For example, a coffee commercial may show steam rising from a cup, encouraging viewers to imagine the smell, the taste, and the comfort of drinking it. You know, the ad that doesn't just show the product; it makes you picture yourself experiencing it. Right? I think you experience that too. Now, why this actually matters? Mental messages are powerful because they personalize the ad. What we imagine feels more real and memorable than what we just see possibly. Another one is the mediated messages. Mediated messages are visuals we see with the help of technology or media like the TV, movies, smartphones, social media, or print ads. Now, most advertising today is mediated from YouTube ads to billboards. From visuals are designed to these visual are actually designed to capture our attention in a crowded media environment. For example, scrolling through Facebook. I know, guys, that you're actually you have the social media platform, either Facebook or TikTok. Actually, it exposes us to mediated advertising messages designed to be quick, catchy, and shareable. Mediated messages allow advertisers to reach large audiences at once. They also allow repetition, ensuring the brand becomes familiar through constant exposure. Lastly, is direct messages. Direct messages are the things we see with our own eyes in a real life settings without any screen or media in between. Think of a storefront display, a stand in a mall, a street mural, or even a branded car wrap. These are visual encountered in the environment. Unlike mediated ads, direct visual interact with our daily routines. Direct visuals are really impactful because they feel natural. People stumble upon them while walking or shopping, making them part of a real life experience instead of just a mediated screen moment. Okay, so when we combine these three, the mental, mediated, and direct, we see how powerful visual communication truly is. Advertisers don't just rely on one. They often design campaigns that spark mental images, spread mediated content, and reinforce it with direct visuals in everyday life. This energy makes their message impossible to ignore. Now that we understand the different types of visual messages, the next question now is how do people actually process what they see? No? In advertising, it's not enough to just show an image. What matters is how the audience eyes and brain works together to make sense of it. Now, this brings us the visual process, which has three stages, no? First is the sensing, the second is selecting, and the third one is perceiving. When we talk about sensing, sensing is the very first step where the eye simply capture the light, the color, and shape. It's about seeing without yet understanding it. For example, when you see a billboard on a highway, your eyes immediately register its color and shape before you recognize the message. Siguro naman, no? You experienced that because I experienced that a lot. I did not mind about the message, but the layout, the color, if it is catchy. Now, in advertising, advertisers use bold colors, large fonts, and high contrast to make sure that the viewers eye notice the ad first. Think of Coca-Cola's red background. It demands attention even before you read the text, right? Next is selection. Selecting happens when the viewer's mind chooses what to focus on within the main message, like the product image, to support uh, to supporting details like the price, tagline, or even the logo. For instance, in Jollibee poster, the eye might first land on the burger. Kalami ba sa burger, no? It's very delicious. Then move to the price. Magkano kaya? How much would it cost? Then to the smiling mascot. Oh my gosh, Jollibee is really delicious. So it actually registers to your mind. Now this actually comes the next no process, which is perceiving. Perceiving is when the brain organizes and interprets what has been seen, turning it into meaning. This is where the viewer says, oh, this is a sales ad, or this product looks fun and tasty. Okay, like Jollibee, especially those students or even those people who haven't eat Jollibee yet. So when they see the ad, oh, I think this looks tasty and delicious, you know. So if the ad is well designed, the perception will align with the advertiser's goal, example, making the product look desirable. But if the ad is cluttered or unclear, the perception may be confused or even negative. These three steps, sensing, selecting, and perceiving, explain why good design matters so much in advertising. An ad must first catch the eye, then guide the eye, and finally convince the mind. If any of these stage fail, the message is lost. Okay. Next is, up to this point, we've seen how visuals are supposed to work. They grab attention, guide the eye, and help audience perceive meaning. But what happens when visuals are poorly designed? Instead of attracting, they can actually repel. Instead of clarifying, they confused. Now let's look at the common effects of poor visual communication. Now, what are the effects of visual communication? Poorly made visuals can weaken the impact of advertising, waste resources, and even damage the brand credibility. Advertisers spend millions on campaigns, but if the visuals fail, the entire efforts collapses. That's the sad thing about it. Poor visual communication can result in the message being misunderstood, ignored, or rejected. Now let's take a look at on effects of poor visual communication. The first one that we're going to discuss is miss the target audience. Poorly designed visual can fail to connect with the intended users. For example, if an ad for youth clothing uses dull colors and overly formal font, teenagers may not feel it speaks to them. The message is technically delivered but doesn't land where it matters. A mismatch between design and audience leads to wasted money and effort. Ads must use visuals that resonate with the culture, age group, and its lifestyle of the target market. Missing the alignment is like throwing darts that never hit the bullseye. That's what will happen. The second one is put the audience to sleep. Visual that are too plain, cluttered, or even uninteresting fail to capture the attention. In today's world of scrolling and skipping, if an ad looks boring, people won't bother engaging with it. The audience mentally falls asleep, oh my gosh, even if they don't literally close their eyes. A boring design makes the brand forgettable. For instance, image in a food poster that uses a dull images of the meal, no matter how delicious it is in real life, the uninspired photo kills appetite and interest. Like, may lami. Lain po na, uy, giunsa man na. It's not clear, it's not clean. So people would not actually wouldn't feel any appetite or interest. Effective visual must wake people up with creativity, emotions, and relevance. These examples remind us that visual are not just decoration, they are the engine of communication. When visual miss the mark, the audience is either unreached or unmoved. That is why advertisers carefully test layouts, colors, images, and messages to avoid missing their target or boring their viewers. Ganun. Yun lang ba? Oh, dalawa lang siya. Yeah, those are the two reason, no, effects pala on poor visual. Now, why visual communication? We've seen how visuals can succeed or fail in communication, but why are visuals so essential in advertising in the first place? Why not rely on words alone? The answer is simple. Visual communicate faster, stronger, and more universally. Now let's break it down the key reasons why visual communication is very powerful tool. First, it grabs the attentions. Humans are naturally drawn to visuals before words. Bright colors, unusual images, or surprising compositions can instantly grab at the attentions. In advertising, this is critical because audience have short attention spans and can constantly bombarded with messages. The countless picture in a tortella wrap or bamboo wraps is humorous and unexpected. It makes people stop and look. Similarly, the Become Someone Else poster with a book in front of the face surprises viewers and holds their attention. A strong visual acts as a hook. Without it, people may never pause long enough to read and or absorb the message. Second, it tells stories. Visuals are powerful storytelling tools. They can communicate complex emotions and narratives in a single frame. Storytelling engages audiences, builds empathy, and makes the message memorable. The child abuse awareness ad using a gun silhouette merging with a child's carrying face, telling a tragic story in one image. Another ad, This is not the yoga, uses a visual pan to highlight exploitation. Both create strong emotional responses. Storytelling through visual connects to human emotions, making messages impactful and memorable. Next is market associations. Visual help positions a brand within a lifestyle, culture, or types of users. Ads don't just show a product, they show the kind of people who use it or the life you'll have it if you buy it. The book with stitching figures suggest craftsmanship and durability. The paintbrush, as hair emphasizes beauty and artistry, you know, we've seen on the picture. McDonald's coffee ad positions their drink as the solutions to morning tiredness and on. And market associations allow consumers to see themselves in the product, linking identity and lifestyle with brand choice. Next is community quickly. Visual communicates after faster than words. A single image can replace paragraph or explanation. That's why infographics, maps, and icons are widely used. They let audiences understand information in seconds. The Zoom map visually shows direction, attractions, and rules at a glance. Imagine explaining all of that in a text. It would take far longer to read. Of course, quick communications is critical in advertising, where viewers may only give a few seconds of attention. And here, lastly, visuals turns abstract claim into concrete proof. And this is what we call cement belief. People are more likely to trust what they see rather than what they are told. Advertising often exaggerates to make a point, but even exaggeration helps cement the idea. If a toothpaste brand shows someone biting through steel, it visually proves strength better than words ever could. Repetition also strengthens belief. When audience see the same brand imagery constantly, the image gets imprinted in their memory and feels more reliable. Creative use of visuals makes the message stick. Now, audience remember the image long after they've forgotten the words. Now, on the example, um, on the slide, the visual of the toothpaste billboard. The visual of someone biting through metal proves strong teeth. It's an exaggerated but effective way to cementing belief. The running ad, no, the running ad on the other side. The shadow of a powerful runner communicates improved performance. Viewers believe the product enhances strength and endurance. The minimalist bicycle ad, which is the lower button, the stark simplicity emphasizes power and speed, making the product looks credible. The children in a sports ad, the playful arrangement makes the brand message believable. Better gear, better performance. Visuals are important because they grab attention, tell stories, build association, communicate quickly, and finally cement belief. These last points shows us that visuals are not just decorative, they are persuasive. They make people trust, remember, and act on what they see. What is the true power of visual communication and advertising? And that is true. Now, what are the advantages of advertising? The first one is we have transcend language barriers. Now, images can be understood regardless of language. A smile, a road sign, or picture of food communicates across cultures. This is why brands like McDonald's or Coca-Cola use consistent global imagery. Okay, so this is, and the second one is attention getting. Visuals naturally attract the eye more than long text. Bright colors, striking graphics, or emotional photos can immediately pull viewers in. In a world full of information, this is critical advantage. Number three, the third one is works even in passive state or ability to pick up information while in a passive state of listening. People can absorb visuals even when they are not actively paying attention, like a billboard glimpse from a car or an ad on a passing bus. Fourth is it makes everybody remember whatever carried out or enhances memory. Visuals stick in people's mind. Studies shows people remember 65% of visual content compared to only 10 to 20% of text. So that is why brand invests heavily in logos, mascots, and visual campaigns. And last one is builds trust. The phrase "seeing is believing" applies here actually. When people see visual evidence, they're more likely to believe the message. Example, before and after photos and fitness ads. Now, although we do have advantages, we also have disadvantages of visual communication. The first one is from long distance visualization can seen or limited by distance or visibility. If visuals are too small, poorly lit, or far away, example, billboard text that's too tiny, the message fails. Second is difficulties in making people to understand the ideas and innovation or can be misunderstood. People interpret visuals differently depending on culture, experience, or context. A symbol that means something positive in one culture could mean something offensive in another. So, third is imprecise and difficult to convey complex ideas or imprecise for complex ideas. Not all concepts can be simplified into a picture. Technical or abstract information often needs a detailed explanation to text or speech. Lastly, often cannot transmit factual information. Numbers, data, and specific instructions are harder to communicate visually. Example, a medical prescription or legal document cannot rely on visuals alone. Now, this balance of pros and cons shows us how advertisers must be strategic. They should use visuals to grab attention, cross barriers, and be memorable. But they must also support visuals with clear text and context to avoid confusions or misinterpretation. Smart advertising combines the strengths of both words and images. So I think that's actually the end of our presentation of our class. I am grateful for the attention that you have given. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today for today's discussions about visual communication in advertising. We've explored its different types, how the visual process works, the effects of poor design, why visuals are so important, and the advantages and disadvantages of using them. Now, I hope this session has given you valuable insight that you can apply in your studies or even in real life advertising practice. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below. If you love to hear your thoughts, I really love to hear your thoughts anyways. So once again, this is Nino and I look forward seeing you on my next lesson. Goodbye and take care.